The Western Azerbaijan community has hosted an international scientific conference entitled International Legal Basis of Return to Western Azerbaijan, dedicated to the 101st birth anniversary of the national leader Haydar Aliyev. The conference was attended by heads, deputies, outstanding lawyers, and members of the central bodies of the Western Azerbaijan community. Speaking at the event, chairman of the board of the community, member of Milli Majlis, Aziz Alekberli, spoke about national leader Haydar Aliyev's laying the foundation for the work done today regarding Western Azerbaijan, his care and special attention to our compatriots who were forcibly deported from their ancestral lands. He stated that President Ilham Aliyev, as a worthy successor to the political course of the Haydar Aliyev, considers the issue of human rights and the peaceful mission of returning to the Western Azerbaijan as one of the main objectives and demonstrates his support for ensuring the right of Western Azerbaijanis to return. As the conference considerations were heard on the investigation of legal issues related to return to Western Azerbaijan, the fundamentals of the right to return established in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Convention relating to the status of the refugees, and other important international instruments. The conference discussed ways of using modern international legal instruments that make it possible to implement the provisions of the concept of return, which stated as the main goal the provision of individual and collective rights of Azerbaijanis expelled from the territory of current Armenia. As known, based on the agreement reached on April 19, 2024 between Azerbaijan and Armenia, it was decided to take certain practical steps regarding the delimitation of the border. However, in recent days in Armenia, a number of provocative forces work intensively to prevent the implementation of the said agreement, which could contribute to achieving lasting peace between the two countries. It's very concerning that religious servants of the Armenian Gregorian Church have been actively involved in these processes. They put forward political demands, openly oppose peace with Azerbaijan, and call for a revanchist war.
While Azerbaijan hosts the World Forum on Intercultural Dialogue in these days, the Armenian Gregorian Church conducts anti-peace activities. It's regrettable and speaks volumes. It should be noted that the Armenian Gregorian Church was actively involved in the expulsion of Azerbaijanis from Armenia and Armenia's military aggression against Azerbaijan. The Western Azerbaijan community calls on the international community and world religious leaders to condemn the actions of the Armenian Gregorian Church and to support the establishment of lasting peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia.
A historical achievement has been reached in the righteous cause of Western Azerbaijan at the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation held on May 4-5, 2024 in Banjul, Gambia. The 57 states expressed their concern about the fate of Azerbaijanis forcibly expelled from Armenia and supported their peaceful, safe, and dignified return to their native lands. Additionally, the heads of state and government strongly condemned the desecration and destruction of the Muslim cultural heritage in Armenia. The Western Azerbaijan community warmly welcomes this decision of the OAC summit. With this decision, the OAC has become the first international organization to express its support for the return of the Azerbaijanis expelled from Armenia. The Western Azerbaijan community is confident that the organization's unanimous support for the issue of Western Azerbaijan will facilitate the peaceful return of the expelled Azerbaijanis to their homes in Armenia. The ambassador of France to Armenia, Azerbaijanophobe Olivier de Contigny, in an interview with Radio Free Europe's Armenian service on May 8, 2024, has once again made irresponsible and destructive statements, trying to exacerbate the situation in the region and to undermine the positive dynamics towards normalization of relations between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Ambassador de Contigny, who claims that Azerbaijan is allegedly maintaining an occupation of Armenian territories and has intentions of attack, is well aware that these are fabrications aimed to justify France's engagement in the South Caucasus and its arms sales to Armenia. In relation to the supposed international support for the return of Armenians migrated from Azerbaijan's Karabakh region, the community condemns France's discriminatory treatment of Azerbaijanis forcibly expelled from Armenia.
Furthermore, international institutions are not limited to the Islamophobic, corrupt European Parliament. International institutions also include the Islamic Cooperation Organization and its 57 member states, which recently made unanimous decisions at the Banjul summit supporting the return of expelled Azerbaijanis to their homes in Armenia. The response given by Ambassador Dekatinis regarding the whereabouts of Ambassador Anna Boulon, whom Paris had recalled for consultations and then sent back to Baku, deviates from all diplomatic norms, is cheap and unbecoming, thus exposing his personal and France's destructive stance. In fact, France supports the religious radicalism, revanchism, and anti-peace activities currently carried out by the politicized Armenian Church and its clergy in Armenia. The French ambassador's desire to be more Armenian than the Armenians, his frequent inappropriate remarks against Azerbaijan, and his consideration of himself as a Talleyrand of the era is lamentable. The Western Azerbaijan community demands that France cease its destructive policies, exacerbating the situation in the region and not hinder peace.
As stipulated in the 2020 ceasefire statement, a joint road and railway can be built through Zangezur territory. Representative of the President of Azerbaijan on special assignments, Elchin Amirbayev, said during an interview with Die Zeit, a German national weekly newspaper. He noted that through this corridor, Armenia can get out of isolation, collect transit fees, and improve relations with Turkey. Regarding the possibility of Armenians rejecting this proposal, Elchin Amirbayev noted that a road and railway can be built through Iran, which would be only 10 kilometers longer than the Zangezur corridor. Elchin Amirbayev believes that Armenians' concern is absurd. The interview states that the length of the strip of land falling on the territory of Armenia is only 34 kilometers, and it separates Azerbaijan from its exclave Nakhchivan. In response to the question about the possibility of war, Elchin Amirbayev emphasized that it will not happen at all. According to him, the exchange of military personnel between the countries is also a positive trend, and it also serves to strengthen the trust between Baku and Yerevan. Virtual Western Azerbaijan platform was presented. The Virtual Western Azerbaijan platform www.gerbiazerbaijan.com was presented at the Baku Book Center. The platform created by the Initiatives and Projects Center with the support of the Regional Development Public Union of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation is available in Azerbaijani, English, Russian, and Spanish languages. The materials posted here are prepared on the basis of the history, science, and culture of Western Azerbaijan, the books of scholars engaged in the study of Armenian vandalism, and articles published in periodicals and scientific journals. On the main page of the platform, an interactive map of the historical Western Azerbaijan lands covering the entire territory of today's Republic of Armenia is reflected. The content is presented in the sections History, Science and Culture, Armenian Vandalism, Resources, Testimonies. At the same time, there are photos and videos, maps related to the history of Western Azerbaijan. The platform also presents the views of the national leader of the Azerbaijani people, Heydar Aliyev, and President Ilham Aliyev on the issue of Western Azerbaijan. The related web sources section of the platform reflects the historical, legal, and political aspects of the former Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, resource based with information on Armenian crimes committed against Azerbaijani cultural heritage and natural resources during the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, the Khojaly genocide, the city of Shusha, the cultural capital of Azerbaijan, and the 44-day war, which is considered the most glorious in the history of Azerbaijan, and the extensive reconstruction works carried out in the territories liberated from occupation under the leadership of the victorious commander-in-chief Ilham Aliyev in the post-war period are also reflected. Ankara hosted an international symposium themed forcibly deportation from Western Azerbaijan organized by the Turkey-Azerbaijan Friendship, Cooperation and Solidarity Foundation, the Intercultural Network Association and the Turkish World Application and Research Center of Gazi University. At the conference, the causes and consequences of the forcible deportation of the Western Azerbaijani Turks were widely discussed by scientists who are specialists in the subject. In the symposium, it was discussed to publish scientific texts based on facts and present them to the international community. Eldar Aliyev, advisor of the Embassy of Azerbaijan in Turkey, Aygün Aktar, head of the Turkey-Azerbaijani Friendship, Cooperation and Solidarity Foundation, Professor Bülent Aksoy, head of the Turkish World Application and Research Center of Gazi University, Musa Yıldız, rector of the university, Member of Parliament Shamil Ayrim, head of Turkey-Azerbaijan Inter-Parliamentary Friendship Group, delivered speeches. The symposium continued its work with sessions entitled International Law and Migration, Pre-Migration Conditions and Migration from Western Azerbaijan, Forcibly Deportation and its Social Effects, Adaptation after Migration and the Future, which was attended by Hicran Hüseyinova, chairperson of Azerbaijan State Committee for Family, Women and Children Affairs, Member of Parliament Nagif Hamzayev, Member of Parliament from Ankara Zeynep Yıldız, Member of Parliament from Sakarya Çiğdem Erdogan, Head of Black Sea Studies of Harvard University Sergey Konoplov, diplomats, representatives of NGO, and representatives of history, law, international relations, and sociology. As it's known from history, Armenians who migrated to the Caucasus as Christian missionaries during that time managed to increase their numbers artificially through various forms of assimilation with the imperial powers struggling for the South Caucasus during all these historical events and seized the opportunity to benefit from the geopolitical situation as one of the consequences of the First World War. Tsarist Russia fell and Armenian state was created on the territory of historical Azerbaijan. In the subsequent historical stages, Armenians were motivated to capture the Karabakh and Zangezur regions. These unread pages of the history and truth about Western Azerbaijan was heard in the speech of the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan Ilham Aliyev at a meeting held on December 24, 2022, with a group of intellectuals from the Western Azerbaijan in the administrative building of the community.
Qərbi Azərbaycan bizim tarixi torpağımızdır.
Western Azerbaijan is our historical land, which is confirmed by a number of historical documents, historical maps, and our history itself. Unfortunately, the Armenians razed all our historic and religious monuments in Western Azerbaijan to the ground, as they did in Karabakh. They wanted to erase the historical heritage of the Azerbaijani people, but they could not achieve their goals. Because there is history, there are documents and there are maps. The map displayed in this building, dating back to the beginning of the 20th century, once again shows that the Western Azerbaijan is the historical land of Azerbaijan. The names of cities and villages are of Azerbaijani origin, and we know perfectly well that the Azerbaijani people have lived in the territory of the present-day Armenia throughout history. The main task now is to let the whole world know about that. Work in this direction has already started, but I am sure that the community will do this work in a more focused and result-oriented manner. President Ilham Aliyev also mentions the right of return of Western Azerbaijanis.
Qərbi Azərbaycanlılar
Western Azerbaijanis are a community that has been illegally deported many times. Their rights must be restored and they must be able to return to their native lands. When I say this, I can foresee another hysteria in Armenia about Azerbaijan coming and invading them. No, we want to do it peacefully. We want to secure our rights through peaceful means. And let me say again, all conventions recognize this right. Therefore, in order to achieve this, we must also be more active at the international level. The speech of the head of the state that caressed the wounded soul of Western Azerbaijanis still resonate in the tongues and hearts of each of them today.
Mən adətən 24
In the
dekabr
past, I usually spend December 24 with the IDPs. I never celebrate my birthday, I only celebrate it with my family, and I think today is no exception, and I am celebrating it with my family. The head of state touched upon the issue of the return of our compatriots during his extensive interview with the Azerbaijani media on May 10, 2023.
Əlbəttə ki,
Of course, Western Azerbaijanis should return to their ancestral lands. This is their rights, and all international conventions recognize this right of theirs. As the state of Azerbaijan, we must do our best to secure this right. Again, I said during the meeting with community representatives there that we want to do it peacefully, and I am sure we will achieve that. Today, Western Azerbaijanis wait for the day when they will return to their native lands, to their homes, and visit the graves of their loved ones. The position shown by the head of the state in the direction of restoring the rights of the Azerbaijani people and restoring historical justice, recognizing the rights of the Western Azerbaijan community at the international level, has further strengthened the belief that Western Azerbaijanis will return to their ancestral homeland from which they were forcibly expelled.
The biggest mosque in Yerevan, Blue Mosque, this building, which is considered a unique example of historical architecture, is called the Blue Diamond of Yerevan. In many parts of Azerbaijan, there are historical and religious monuments called Blue Mosque. The construction of the Blue Mosque, which is considered one of the rare examples of Eastern architecture, was started in 1760 during the reign of Hüseyin Ali Khan Qajar and was completed in 1766. It's clear from the historical sources that Hüseyin Ali Khan of Azerbaijan invited Mirza Jafar, the chief architect of Ahmed Khan Khoy Khan, to the city of Yerevan. The name of the Blue Mosque, located near the covered bazaar in the center of Yerevan, was associated with the sky blue dome covering it. In the courtyard of the mosque, a fountain-like stone pool was built, surrounded by densely planted shaded trees. It's clear from the information of Shardeh, who was in Yerevan in the 17th century, that there was also a mosque called Div Sultan in the area where the Blue Mosque was built. After the earthquake of 1679, this mosque, like other examples of Yerevan architecture, was destroyed. The name of the Blue Mosque was previously named after Hüseyin Ali Khan. Later, due to the abundance of blue tiles in the mosque, it was named the Blue Mosque. The mosque was considered the Juma Mosque of Yerevan city. Moreover, the Blue Mosque was also the largest educational institution in the city of Yerevan in the 19th century. According to the information provided by Chopin, a madrasa also operated in Hüseyin Ali Khan Mosque. The Blue Mosque was considered the center of the spiritual administration of Yerevan province. In the works of all travelers and research describing the city of Yerevan, the name of the Blue Mosque is first mentioned as the most magnificent architectural monument of the city due to its size and beauty. According to its scale, the Blue Mosque in Yerevan was the largest mosque in the Caucasus. Hundreds of documents related to the activities of the Blue Mosque are stored in the State Historical Archive of Azerbaijan. Activities of the mosque, appointment of clergy, management of the mosque's property, and other documents are collected here. It's known from the archive materials that the Blue Mosque had large endowment properties. The mosque owned large land areas in the villages of Yuva, Beyjazli, Akhund, Buzovand, Karahamzali, Jaharbagh, and Sarvanlar of Yerevan district. The archival documents also contain various documents about the lease and use of these plots of land. While looking at the composition of the members of the Spiritual Assembly of Yerevan province, it becomes clear that each of the members of the assembly, which functioned until 1918, were Azerbaijanis. The Blue Mosque, which was destroyed in 1918-1999, later lost its function as a mosque during the Armenian SSR and became a city museum in 1931, later turned into planetarium. The mosque was burned twice by Armenian radicals in the 20th century, first in 1918, then in March 1955. Azerbaijani clergyman Mahmud Arzoğlu, his wife, and 22 Turkish scholars burned to death while worshipping in the mosque. Today, the Blue Mosque, the only surviving one among more than 300 mosques on the territory of Armenia, is presented as if belonged to another country in order to lose traces of Western Azerbaijanis.